Last time that we were talking about things, we were talking about how India was partitioned into two different countries at its independence. India gained independence in 1947. And it was partitioned into two different countries, India and Pakistan, India in red, Pakistan in green. And eventually, Pakistan, who was here in green, was eventually then split into two different countries, Bangladesh and Pakistan in 1971. Let's go ahead and make a new bullet. So bullet partition of India and Pakistan. So bullet partition of India and Pakistan. So India's partition split into two different countries, India and Pakistan. And when the country split, Gandhi, he didn't believe that India should be split. He believed they should be just one nation. They shouldn't be two different nations. He supported people that were Muslims and also people that were part of the low caste of the Hindu society, which ticked off a lot of Hindus because Hindus didn't want to share the country with the Muslims. Muslims didn't really want to share the country with the Hindus either. So there was a problem between those two groups. Now, Gandhi believed that Hindus and Muslims could and should live in the same country, and he was as said opposed to partition. However, in 1948, Gandhi is assassinated. So, a year after partitioning of the nation, Gandhi is assassinated by a Hindu in 1948 for his support of, the Muslims and wanting the two nations to be one. Go ahead and make a number one. Lines of partition were established based on religion. So number one, lines of partition were established based on religion. So lines of partition, these lines here that divided up the country were established based on religion, with the green areas being the Muslim areas and the red areas being the Hindu areas. When these two areas are established as their own countries, there were a lot of issues because people that were living in the Hindu areas that were Muslim then tried to leave India and get into the Pakistan areas, while people who were Hindus in the Pakistan areas then try to leave and get into the Hindu areas in India. This caused a lot of problems as people were trying to cross the borders with each other. Go ahead and make a 2. 14.5 million people crossed the borders. So you had a lot of people crossing the borders between the two nations, from Pakistan to India and from India to Pakistan. This caused a lot of issues as people were kind of running into each other as they were passing. So, you had people that were Hindu and people that were Muslim, they're trying to cross into our country, and then they run into each other. And then this caused arguments and disagreements and other issues between the two groups. And this then caused a lot of deaths as people were killed. And then you had like revenge killings and such. So there was a lot of issues when the country was partitioned. So this caused quite a lot of issues as people were trying to cross from one country into another. Okay. Number 3, 500,000 with high estimates at 1 million deaths. So because, as I said, there were a lot of people that died when they were trying to shift from one place to another. So that's 500 million with high estimates, not 500 million, 500,000 with high estimates at 1 million deaths. So I got to write number 3. 500,000 with high estimates at 1 million deaths. So quite a lot of people kind of died during the trying to get from the Muslim areas to the Hindu areas and from the Hindu area to the Muslim areas, as we've kind of already talked about. And that's number 3. All right, next bullet, facts and statistics. So next bullet, facts and statistics. We talked about various nations that have developed nuclear weapons before, And India is one of 10 nations that have developed nuclear weapons in the world, or said they have. Now, for knowing about actual nuclear weapons and them actually testing out in the open, that's a little bit different. But let's go ahead and make it number one first. The number one, India is one of 10 nuclear states in the world. So, for actually knowing about nuclear weapons and who has nuclear weapons, the United States and Russia's have the two biggest nuclear arsenals in the world. You can see that in our graphic down here. So, the United States and Russia have the two biggest stockpiles. And then you have, France, China, United Kingdom, and then Pakistan and India. So those are kind of the major nations. Now, there are a couple other nations that say they have nuclear weapons as well. South Africa, for example, says they had nuclear weapons. Israel said they had nuclear weapons. And North Korea says that they have nuclear weapons as well. Now, South Africa has, according to themselves, gotten rid of their nuclear weapons. Israel says that they have them, but we've never seen a test from them. And same thing with North Korea. North Korea says they have them, but we've never actually seen a test of their nuclear weapons. And then remember, for nuclear weapons, United States is the first nation to develop nuclear weapons, then Russia, then United Kingdom, then France, then China, then India, then Pakistan. So that's kind of the order that they develop nuclear weapons in. Two, Hindi is the national language. So Hindi is the national language. There are a lot of languages in India. Hindi is the national language. It's the major one. You can see Hindi is in this area up here in the green. So these areas in green, that's where Hindi is spoken. But you see a lot of different colors then for a lot of different other languages as well. So Hindi may be the main language, but there are a lot of other languages in India besides just Hindi. So very similar to China, in which China Mandarin is the main language, and that's mainly in the north. And same thing here, Hindi is mainly in the north as well. Things that are made in India. Major industries include automobiles, cement, chemical or consumer electronics, food processing machinery, mining, petroleum, pharmaceuticals, steel, transportation equipment, and textiles are some of the things that are made in India. This is a person who is shopping in India. So you can see how this is a general store, and they got various things, buckets, hair care products, paper, water bottles, and more stuff inside. So you can see how there's various things that they have here at the general store. Gandhi's memorial is Rajghat. So that's Gandhi's memorial. So this is his memorial there. You can see how there's an internal flame there, similar to how there's an internal flame for JFK at Arlington National Cemetery. This is the park that Gandhi is assassinated in. So as I said before, Gandhi gets assassinated by someone that didn't believe that the Hindus and Muslims could live together in the same nation. And this is the park that Gandhi gets assassinated in, and therefore this is where the memorial is at. This picture right here just shows a guy drawing up water from a well using his cows right here. The color on the horns indicate what political party that person votes for. So apparently the blue party. Number 3, water pollution from raw sewage and runoff of agricultural pesticides. So 3, water pollution from raw sewage and runoff of agricultural pesticides. So you can see here in the picture, this is a river in India, and you see how there's quite a lot of trash in it, and there's also sewage in the river as well. So a lot of the rivers are super polluted and quite disgusting because of not keeping sewage from getting into the rivers, not keeping pollution, trash from getting into them, and agricultural pesticides getting into them as well. A lot of the rivers have quite a lot of issues, as you can see in the picture. Okay, now this is just a stage photo. This isn't how trains always look at in India. But the problem is also in India is there are a lot of people that do ride on top of trains. Obviously not like this because it's a stage photo. But you have a lot of people that do ride on top of trains for free. They don't buy a ticket and you like get in the train, so they just ride on top of it for free. It's been an issue in India. They did try to stop people from doing it, but then people complained about how they were going to get from one place to another. They couldn't get on the train. So, yeah, that's caused issues as well. But there is a huge population in India. They have 1.3 billion people. And it does strain the resources of India with having that many people in the country. We saw that China dealt with this by forcing people to have just one child per family. But in India's case, they're not a communist nation, that's an oligarchy that can kind of just enforce the will on however they want on their citizens. It's a democracy. Democracies don't work like that. All right, let's go ahead and stop there.